All right, I think we need to get a couple of things out of the way before we get started. One, the Galaxy Note 20 5G is basically a scam to get people to buy the more expensive Note 20 Ultra. At $1,000 retail, no one should buy the Note 20. Not for full cost, not anyway. There are a lot of different ways to get that phone for a reduced price, and I suppose those are good options, but with trade-ins and buy one, get ones and all kinds of other stuff, I mean, you're still spending money. It's not, you're paying monthly bills and blah, 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 and all that. The phone that you're trading is worth money. There are ways to get good deals by gaming the system. Like I bought the Note 9 for $350 on Amazon, and then I got the Note 20 and got $550 worth of credit for it. So yeah, but otherwise, it's way too much money for just, well, for that phone. But that said, I want to try and look at the Galaxy Note 20 Peasant Edition, Stimulus Edition, Participation Trophy Edition, whatever you want to call it, as a phone in its own right, because really that's the only way to review it that seems worthwhile. I could complain about it all day, but people are going to buy this phone, and I want them to know what I think about it after all that other stuff is done. If I compare it to the competition, the V60, the upcoming Pixel 5, the full-blown Note 20 Ultra, Samsung's S20 offerings from earlier this year, it doesn't fare well, but then again, that's because of the price tag. On its own, the Galaxy Note 20 is actually a decent phone. If it didn't live in the shadow of its more well-appointed big brother, it might be the porridge that's just right for a lot of people. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's not too hot, it's not too cold, etc., etc. I've been using the Galaxy Note 20 for the past couple of weeks, and once I got around the sticker shock of that price tag, I found it to be overall a decent experience. I'll explain why in a minute, but first, let's go through the important stuff about the phone. I guess we have to start with build quality. Other than the demotion from glass to plastic or glastic or whatever you want to call it on the back, the Note 20 is a really good looking phone. It has a flat screen, which not a lot of Samsung phones do, and that's something that a lot of people appreciate. The more squared off sides of the Note design in general are easier to hold than the other Samsung phones that are out there. Even that plastic back has benefits over glass-backed phones. It doesn't get greasy, it doesn't get slippery with hand oils, it doesn't make you feel like you have to constantly wipe your phone all the time. It doesn't make you feel like a dirty, dirty, gross person. And that's nice. This year, Samsung relocated the power and volume buttons over to the right side and moved the S Pen over to the left, which is probably the worst place for the S Pen to be since the majority of people are right-handed, and that means you got to press, I don't know. But other than those seemingly arbitrary changes, the overall quality of the Note 20 5G is good. It doesn't feel as solid as other flagships, but like I said, it's got benefits too. The screen, 1080p, 60 hertz. According to some, I guess that's one of the worst sins that you could commit in 2020, but let me tell you a little secret. 1080p, 60 hertz is fine. It's actually more than fine. The screen on this phone is just as good as any Samsung phone that I've used, and I have zero issues with the Note 20 5G phone, no matter what the resolution or the refresh rate. Somehow, my eyes have survived the pain of having to look at a screen that's not 1440p or capable of running 120 hertz. If you're watching this review and you have no idea what I'm talking about, please don't worry. You're just not a phone nerd who foams at the mouth over the smallest inclusion or omission of this feature or that feature arbitrarily every year. Every year it's some feature. This year it's 120 hertz screen. You're perfectly normal if you don't know what this is. It's a good screen. It looks good, it's bright, it's colorful. In use, the phone is fast. Samsung's One UI has been honed to the point where it almost has the simplicity of stock Android, but it still has some of those nice Samsung bells and whistles, like slide over to get this sort of app drawer thingy, and I don't know, Bixby, which everyone hates. Nobody uses. I mean, Samsung has some nice features, but I can't think of any that they have right now. Of course, the reason you buy a Note is for the S Pen, and this phone has one. Regardless of where it's positioned, it slides out at the bottom of the phone and it does all the S Pen stuff, like take notes on the screen when you first take it out, and you know, you've got a Smart Select where you can grab a portion of the screen and take a screenshot of that instead of having to take a screenshot and then shrink it down. You can make GIFs GIFs, GIFs, not GIFs, GIFs. All in all, the S Pen is probably the best accessory you can get on an Android phone. It really does offer a lot of additional functionality. It's probably the best thing about the Note phone, period. Battery life on the phone has been pretty okay. I came from the LG V60, which has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, to the Note 25G, which has a 4,300 milliamp hour battery. I mean, the difference was noticeable, but the phone gets you through a day. On the day that I wrote this review, it was 3:30 p.m. at that moment when I looked at the phone, and I had 50% battery left after using the phone pretty heavily, and I had taken the phone off the charger at 4:30 a.m. Now, don't ask. The whole lockdown thing, my sleep is all messed up, but the battery is fine. But I'd worry maybe a little bit that the capacity would shrink and maybe not be so awesome over a couple of years. Call quality, yeah, you can hear people. Speakerphone sounds good. The stereo audio is a little unbalanced when you're trying to watch a video or something, but there's also Dolby Atmos that you can access in the sound settings, and that does make the speakers sound better. Samsung also has a suite of EQs and other enhancements that you can dig into as well, and I've always appreciated that. They really give you a lot of options for sound, or at least I appreciated it when there was a headphone jack on the phone. Now, all those features are about as useful as two tails on a donkey. I have a review of the Galaxy Buds Live here on the channel, and actually the Galaxy Buds Live are probably the best in-ear TWS kind of things that Samsung has made. They got some active noise cancellation. If you want to see that video, it'll be up here. Samsung may finally have found their AirPod competitor here, but then again, I mean, a lot of people are telling me that they're returning them as well, so I don't know. They fit kind of weird. Your mileage may vary. When I review phones, I almost never talk about the cameras, and I realize that's probably a shortcoming in my reviews, but to be honest, I mean, smartphone cameras, to me, need to do one thing well. They need to come out of my pocket and then open up and take a picture and have that picture look good without me having to futz with it. Samsung, while they have all kinds of great bells and whistles on their cameras, they seem to lack that basic function from time to time. There are folks who think that there's something weird about the shutter on the camera, and that for some reason there's a delay and it's a little slow, and so therefore it doesn't quite grab the picture at the right time. I don't know, but for a $1,000 phone, you should get amazing pictures right away in 2020 with little to no effort. And Samsung, unfortunately, is failing at that right now. There are, however, a lot of useless features in the software, like AR Doodle and stuff like that. And I just don't know that they need to be there if the basic function of focus is anyway, the camera can take fine photos. It has a lot of really in-depth features, but if it doesn't focus. Suffice it to say this, if the camera was a big item on my smartphone wish list, which it's actually not, I'd be less inclined to go with a Samsung phone right now. The phone has all the best features of all the Samsung phones, like DeX, which is actually pretty cool. It lets you connect to monitors and peripherals and all that kind of stuff, and makes your phone work like a computer. It's got reverse wireless charging, so you can charge stuff on the back of the phone, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because if you have something sitting on the back of your phone and you're charging it, then you can't use the phone. People seem to like it, though. I don't know. It seems like a stupid feature to me. There's a 5G modem in there that's almost completely useless to about 90% of everybody in the United States. So that's good. What really kills the Note 20 is what Samsung decided to leave out of the phone in order to make people want to buy the $1,300 Note 20 Ultra. If any of these things had been on there, then the $1,000 price would have been a little easier to deal with, and it would be easier for me to recommend the phone, as it is by and large a good phone. But here's a list of the things that Samsung left out so that you could go and buy the more expensive one if you want these features. You have the glass back, which does make the phone feel more premium. SD card slot. So no SD card support, 128 gigabytes of storage, no high refresh rate screen. There might be a couple other things, but you get it. Now, You make your own choice on whether any of those matter to you, and normally it would all be fine. You never get all the features that you want in a phone, but what Samsung has done here is created a purposefully crippled, unattractively expensive, cheaper option to their even more expensive Note 20 Ultra. And I've had people in the comments of my videos tell me that no one's supposed to buy this phone, and for $1,000, I'll agree with you, but if that's the case, why is Samsung making this phone if not for people to purchase it? The Note 20 5G is the participation trophy of smartphones in 2020. When compared to the Note 20 Ultra, when compared to other phones that are even cheaper than it, like the V60 and others. The V60 has a dual screen attachment that also acts as a case. I mean, even the Pixel 4a at $200, $350 is easier to recommend than a $1,000 Note 20. But even so, the Note 20 5G somehow manages to be a really good phone. The S Pen makes it worth considering, and the size, the smaller size, is maybe just what some people are looking for. There's even the flat screen thing to take into consideration. Now, don't get me wrong. Anyone who gets this phone will have a fine phone that'll be easy to use, nice features. If you can get this phone for, say, $600, it's worth considering. The competition in the sub $1,000 Android flagship market this year is uber competitive. And if you find yourself with a Note 20 because you got a trade-in deal on it or a buy one, get one deal or something like that, I mean, don't be ashamed. It may be the participation trophy of Android phones in 2020, but that doesn't mean it's not also a pretty good phone. I'm just not sure it should exist. You let me know what you think of the Note 20 5G down in the comments below. Tell me what I got wrong. I know you're going to tell me what I got wrong. We'll have a boisterous discussion down there in the comments below. The Note 20 5G is a really nice phone, and I actually gave the one that I have to my wife to use, and it's the perfect phone for her. So there's a place for it in the world, but that niche is very small. Once again, thanks so much for being here. If this was your first time, you want to come back, then you can like, subscribe, bell, notify yourself so that you know when there are new videos out, because if you don't hit the bell, YouTube doesn't always, well, even when you hit the bell, YouTube doesn't always tell you when there's a new video. Anyway, if you want to come back, if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back again. It means a lot to me to have this great community. Thank you so much. Once again, my name's Jason, sometimes known as the JTL. This is Painfully Honest Tech. Tech, so honest it hurts. Until the next time, I'm out.